one of Colin Bunyan's cooking recipes. This is the third instalment of the new series, and I'm going to be taking you through an autumn classic. This is apple and raspberry crumble. If ever there was a time of year for a crumble, this is it. I'm going to run you through the ingredients for the topping, because unlike a lot of recipes, I'm going to make the topping first. You're going to need 100 gram of unsalted butter, some vanilla extract. I've got here 200 gram of flour with a quarter of a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking powder. I've got 100 grams of demerara sugar. I've got another pot here, 55 gram, but that's for the fruit section, so that's going to be reserved. I've got 100 gram of rolled oats. Okay, it's going to be key. I'm going to add some golden syrup, and I've got cinnamon, ginger and nutmeg. 100 grams of butter, and I'm going to sift the flour, salt and baking powder together. I don't like sifting normally, but here it does have its benefits. And then all we do is we just chomp on it with the slicer. Now if I'd bothered to cut butter up, this would take about a second or two. Little tip, make sure your butter is fairly soft. You don't want it too squidgy, but you want it to be fairly soft, otherwise it'll be tough to blend in and you will end up damaging your pastry cutter. You want it to be at the texture of sand, coarse sand, but you're not adding extra heat. Whereas if you rub with your hands, you will add that extra heat, and you don't want that. You want all the fat incorporated. It's as if you're making pastry. There we are. You'll notice still a few lumps and stuff in there, but that's fine. You don't want it all to be totally pureed, but it does resemble a sandy beach. We'll have the rest. First up, 100 gram of demerara sugar. Now you've got to have the demerara, plenty of crunch involved, and you need a bit of a crunch. A crumble that doesn't have a hint of crunch isn't a crumble, it's a sludge on top of stewed fruit. And speaking of crunch, 100 gram of rolled oats. And a little bit of golden syrup, probably about 2 tablespoons. Don't want too much, don't want to be liquidising it. But just adds a hint more sweetness. Nutmeg, half teaspoon, it's quite a potent spice, you don't want too much. Ginger, same again, half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon ground ginger. And be generous with cinnamon, because it is going with apples. Finally, some vanilla, just a dash of the real stuff. Don't use fake vanilla, just wrong. And then just give it a light mix in with the pastry cutter. There we are. That is what the crumble should look like, and it smells fantastic, and that's just the topping part. We haven't even got to the stewed fruit. You're going to need chopping board and a fairly short knife. Okay, I've got 6 gala apples. That's right, galas. I'm not using Bramley apples for one reason. Bramley apples go too soft and mulchy. Okay, I don't like a soft, mulchy crumble. I like mine with a good, solid feel. Now the reason why I cut my apples up once the crumble's made is because I don't want the apples turning brown whilst they're waiting for you to make the crumble, which will take about 7 or 8 minutes. Take the apple, down, grip again, down, okay? Don't peel, okay? It's a waste of time. Right, now, see that extra section there, okay? 1 45 cuts, 45 degree, and that goes. Okay, I'll show again. 45-degree cut, like that, and it goes, and that is the core. Okay, so I'll chop it again. Okay, now each section, because these are quite large, I'd say 3 ribs, 9 chunks a quarter, so that's 36 times 6, that's 216 pieces. Oh, for the joy of being the math nerd as well as being a dessert chef. Okay, once you've got rid of the core, it's fairly straightforward. Don't cut them up too small. Okay, remember this is going to cook a fair while, plus I actually like a bit of crunch with my crumble. I don't like it soft and mulchy, which is what you normally get when you have brownie apples. So there we are. I've just given them a 10-minute head start because I want the apples to soften up a little bit. And you can see, and I zoom in, you can see here they've got just started to get a hint of colour. The smell's good. The skin's starting to crisp up already, and the smell of the raspberries is fantastic. So now what I'm going to do, and I do this by hand, is generously sprinkle the crumble over the top. And I love the crumble top, so I'm quite generous. I mean, if you want to thin it out and make it more healthy with a fruit combo, add more raspberries or blackberries, by all means, because it works. Blackberries in particular are good, but you try and get them in October. So go around. You also have to put it on a tray, just in case there's any drips. That goes into the oven for 35 minutes. There we are. That is what the summer fruit, or the apple and raspberry crumble, should look like. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit there. You can see the fruit is well stewed. It's beautiful. And if I show the top, it's nice. It's dark golden around the edges. It's absolutely smelling amazing. Right, now the crumble's cooled. It's had about 2 hours to cool. Now this will serve 6 reasonable people, or 4 very, very generous appetites. Guess what one I come under? Yes, that's right, the generous appetite. Ooh, that didn't work. That didn't work. Bloody hell, it's been 2 hours and it's still warm. Okay. Now, let's see if I can serve up another portion, this time without spilling it. Oh, that worked a little better. Right. Until I drop the serving spoon. Typical. Well, it still works a little better. At least the crumble got into the bowl that time. So, time to get some spoons. Oh man. Plenty of spice. There's a bit of crunch. Good sugar content. Not overly sweet. The apples are soft, but not over the top. They've still got a bit of chew, but not crunching like an Haribo sweet. That is how you do a proper apple and raspberry crumble, and I'll see you next time. Catch you later.